For years, I wanted to be a change maker, but something was holding me back. My dream is to unleash all the change makers in the world. I'd like to ask you something tonight. I'd like you to think about one thing you wish was different in the world. And ask yourself, what's holding you back from creating that change today? Tonight, I'm going to share what was holding me back, hoping it might unleash some of you too. So before we start, I'd like to redefine what a change maker is. And for that, I'd like you to forget about all the labels. Impact investor, philanthropist, social entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur. I'd like you to just forget about all of this and think about all of us as humans, as human beings, highly imperfect human beings, just trying our best. So a change maker is simply someone who wants to do good for the world and just goes for it. So I'd like to share with you how it started for me. Initially, I wanted to be a change maker, but I didn't know where to start. So I looked at people I admired and I followed their lead. Most change makers have gone to the very prestigious universities. They've worked with very respectable companies. So off I went and followed their lead. At age 23, I landed an internship at the Clinton Foundation. I couldn't believe it. I got the opportunity to work closely with former President Clinton and understand how he was leading this impactful foundation. I then pushed hard to get into London School of Economics, and I got in. I pushed and pushed. I tried to get into McKinsey, but that didn't work out. But I kept pushing. And I finally found opportunities in the technology sector. It was exciting. That's where innovation's happening. And there I worked for one of the most prestigious technology accelerator, and we built a big data software business. And it was all very exciting. A few months right before my 30th birthday, I made it onto the Forbes 30 under 30 list. I couldn't believe it. Thank you. I couldn't believe it. It was a huge moment for me, and it was all exhilarating. I was actually flown, across the world to speak at conferences, and I just couldn't believe what was happening to me. And it was all really fun until it wasn't. I was sitting on a technology conference panel with highly respectable men, often twice my age, and there was a little voice inside me that said something like that. "Helena, what are you doing? That big data software is just selling more crap to people who don't need it. And that's not going to make the world a better place." Psst. Psst. For months, I tried to suffocate that voice. But it kept coming back, again and again, louder and louder. Yes, I had fought hard and pushed to make it where a lot of women hadn't, and I was grateful for that. But somehow, along the way, I got distracted. I got distracted by the fancy conferences and, the fast growth of the technology sector and the quick exits. And I got distracted for what I really wanted to do, the change I wanted to make in the world. So I decided I'd listen to that little voice. And I quit. Right when my career was really taking off, I decided I had to listen. So listening to my inner voice was scary. But it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The journey to unleash the change maker in me was actually accelerated by a family tragedy. I will spare you the details of the event, but I can tell you that often I felt myself slipping into a dark hole of sadness. I couldn't really process the tragedy, so as a reaction, I got into hyperactivity, scared that if I would stop moving, there might be a chance that I might never get back up. So I remember, running around London like a headless chicken, and people asking me, "Helena, how are you doing?" And I'd say, I'm fine. But I wasn't. I was sad. And that sadness, it came back at the most random moments. Even at the happiest moments where I was supposed to be happy, I felt sad. So I decided that I'd seek for help. I went to see professionals. I went to see, coaches, therapists, advisors. I went to see Reiki masters. I went on retreats with silent retreats. I went on retreats with psychotherapists. I went on retreats with shamans. You name it, I tried it. If you have any questions, I can give you advice. And guess what? I healed. And not only I started feeling the sadness disappear, but I started to hear my inner voice and feeling comfortable with it. I started hearing my why. I started hearing the voice of the change maker. And suddenly, I saw hundreds of possibilities of how I could create positive change. And it didn't matter anymore if I influenced the lives of millions of people or just one person. Even one person would be enough. And you know what's the best part? Is that I didn't have to push anymore. I didn't have to push and fight and run. I actually felt pulled to do something way greater than myself. And that is the most meaningful feeling I've ever felt. And I think, we've all experienced adversity, right? I'm not the only one. It's part of life, whether it's loss or separation or rejection. We've all been through adversity, and it'll keep coming. But what's interesting is that actually research shows that adversity can actually build resilience. Research goes even further in saying that adversity can actually be an actual creation of greatness. So, they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I always hated that saying because when I was sad, after the tragedy, I didn't feel any better. I didn't feel positive. I felt, negative. And because what it didn't tell you, and what I found out later, is that to actually build that resilience, build that greatness that we all want, we actually need to face adversity. We actually need to go through it. Doesn't feel so good on the moment, but we actually need to, learn from it and go through it. It's only when we've gone through that adversity and understand what is happening to us, instead of running away like I used to do, that we can actually learn from it. So finally, last year, after all this healing, I was able to unleash the change maker in me. I launched Stage 6. Stage 6 is a community of radical optimists. It's a community of people who are ready to push their own boundaries to make positive change in the world. We are opening our first transformation house in Singapore in February and planning to scale it globally. Thank you. Thank you. It's a very simple and groundbreaking principle. Have you ever been on a retreat and felt amazing, felt, oh my God, I feel amazing. It's the new me. And then you go back home and you do all the things you used to do as if you never went on that retreat. So because of that, we actually keep you in your life, in the city, while you're working. And we have a group of coaches and therapists and personal trainers that help you unlock those limiting beliefs so you can build new habits every single day. Because research actually shows that if you want to change something about yourself, if you want to unlock yourself, you actually need to do something different every single day for 66 days. So that's why the programs are for 3 months. So if you want to change something about yourself, say you want to be, I don't know, if you want to be on time for once in your life, you actually need to do it for 66 days for your brain to start rewiring. So our mission is simple. We want to unlock human potential so we can all be the change makers we want to be. Because we know and we've seen that everybody wants to do good. Everybody wants to do good. It's just that sometimes things just get in the way. So I'd like to remind you of a few things. One is find out what you really care about, what you want to change the world, and find out what's holding you back. Listen to your inner voice. Don't suffocate it. Finally, face adversity. If things happen to you, don't run away from them. And finally, just start somewhere. You're all incredible beings with a vibrant heart. And you are all going to change the world. We all are. That's why we're here. Thank you. Thank you.